This is the Clark site, and this is where my psychiatrist is, and it's also where the inpatient unit is on the 5th floor. It was 2006 when I was here, and they formed me, which means you can't leave unless they tell you can leave. And first time they brought me in, the police brought me in, and that's because I was attempting suicide. I was diagnosed with schizophrenia about 12 years ago. I've been on and off medication for many years. My doctor says that I'm the most non-compliant patient he's ever had. So I think that's kind of a good thing. This is the emergency room where they do your assessment. Once you're in there, the door's locked. You can't leave. My new thing is this. I put a chair right here, so it gives them enough room to open the door to look in with the flashlight. And I put this here. That's all I do. They think I have depression. I don't have depression. I'm not depressed. I'm fucking freaking out.
I went to the nurse and I told them what happened. And they're like, oh, just go to bed, just go to bed. And I told them, I said, there's a fucking psychopath murderer on this floor.
She said, Jordan, will you take this, Alexa? Because you took it before. And I said, no. I said, it made me anxious. I woke up 10, 15 times a night. It didn't work for me. She said, I know you're not a pill person. And I said, yes, exactly. I'm not a pill person.
The nurses up there now, they look at me like, it's like I'm a joke, you know? They're all like, you know, kind of like having a competition who's going to get me to take the Haldol.
I only stopped taking the Haldol yesterday. I hate taking the Ativan too because, you know, it does relax you and everything like that, but I feel like I'm getting addicted to it. You get all anxious and stuff starts happening around you and you take an Ativan so you can calm down.
I'm paranoid in this environment. This is not an environment that is safe for somebody who's paranoid. No drug takes away my paranoia, all of it. When I'm in my apartment, I know everything, where everything is. I'm around people I trust. I'm in situations that I can handle. I don't get paranoid. But it's always there. The paranoia never leaves. Even on Haldol or Solpride, there's always a little bit of it there. But in an environment like this, it's like, it's an unsafe environment for somebody who's paranoid.
What am I gonna do? And it just keeps coming back. It just keeps coming back. And I can't stop it. Stop recording.
One of my symptoms was paranoia, and I was paranoid of the medication. So I did a lot of homework about it and found out what it really does in your brain, and I got very afraid of it. The tools they have are like trying to fix a MacBook Pro with like a screwdriver and a hammer. It really will never work. And when they're totally depending on that, well, the person who's being treated is screwed. They were all just horrible feeling, the most horrible feeling. And when they injected me a few times because longer lasting, it was called Risperdal Consta, and it was an injectable, and it was just the most horrible feeling because you can't get it out of your system. Like a pill, you cannot take a dose, but this stuff is in you, and it's just like you get akathisia, which is like this internal restlessness where you feel like you just want to kind of explode out of your body. This is my Haldol book. This is all the research I did about Haldol and how, you know, it's neurotoxic basically. It kills your brain cells in an apoptic and necrotic way, which is quickly and then slowly. That's one of the ones I was on. I kept a diary of how each one made me feel. Cognitive, physiological, and emotional. So I could kind of remember, because I would keep going back and forth, so I would remember what they did. Is altering your brain chemistry with a drug going to help you overcome something like schizophrenia? I used to think so, but I don't anymore. It's like a Band-Aid with thorns in it, and on its own is not enough to help anybody recover. My appointments would be 45 minutes to an hour and a half sometimes. Most people I know, they're in for 5 or 10 minutes. They ask what your side effects are. People would tell them their side effects, and they say, well, that's just a side effect, and don't worry about it. Here's your refill, or let's up the dose if you're having a few more symptoms. Let's add this drug to it, let's add that drug to it. Goodbye. That is the medical model, kind of an extreme example of the medical model, which is more and more kind of the normal. You know, there's really no therapy and there's no recovery plan or hope given to you. They say, oh, this is the way it is, it's going to be this way the rest of your life, and you're just going to have to manage and go on disability, and your life is over. I learned to kind of gain insight into my symptoms. I call it like symptomology. What is happening? How is it happening? And recognizing, is this live or Memorex? Okay, this is the same thing that always happens. You make yourself objective, which is very difficult, coming out of the experience and looking in on it, going, okay, this is just a symptom of this illness. I do not have to follow this path that I normally follow. It's like a form of cognitive therapy. It's a very simple form of cognitive therapy, but it does work. I see my psychiatrist every few weeks, checks up on me, see how I'm doing and stuff, and he's amazing as well. I take fish oil twice a day religiously. I keep stress down. When I'm in stress, high stress situations, I find that it's very hard to cope. I don't take anything anymore. I haven't taken anything for a year and a half now, I think it's been. But a lot of people, they're not interested in trying any of this. It's like, you take your medication, I have an illness, and that's the end of it. And they don't want to fight. You know, they don't want to challenge their thoughts, and they don't want to challenge their experience. And I know I'm not the only one who is not on medication anymore. I know a lot of other people. You just don't hear about them because they get on with their life and they don't want to look back because it's very unpleasant.